Good afternoon, kids. This is Miss Davy, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we are going to have a special session, and I call this one Review with Me, Miss Davy.
Hello, kids, and welcome to another episode of Review with me, Miss Davy. And we are down to the last quarter. And this quarter is all about physics or physical science. And quarter four review includes the following: uniform accelerated motion, projectile motion, free fall, impulse and momentum, mechanical energy, and heat work efficiency, and last but not the least, electrical energy. So let's start. In nature, heat always flows from a blank. Is it A, cold object to a warm object, B, small object to a big object, C, warm object to a cold object, or D, large object to a small object? The correct answer is C, warm object to a cold object. Work output and heat input values are assigned for the following heat engines. Which is the most efficient? A, work output with 50 joules and work input with 100 joules. Heat engine B, 60 joules for the work output and 80 joules for the work input. C, 150 joules for the work output and 200 joules for the work input. Or heat engine D, 35 joules work output and 40 joules work input. To solve for this, you have to remember the energy efficiency formula, which is energy output divided by energy input times 100. And you will be able to come up or solve for the percent efficiency. So, for you to remember it, use the triangle or the pyramid. So, energy output is in the topmost part of the triangle. On the left side is the percent efficiency, and on the right side is the energy input. So, going back to our problem, we are looking for the highest percentage efficiency. So, to get that one, all you have to do is to divide the energy output to the energy input and multiply it to 100. So if you're going to look at the answers here, so heat engine A has 50% efficiency, heat engine B has 75% efficiency, heat engine C is 75% efficiency as well, and heat engine D has 87.5 efficiency. So that leaves us with the correct answer, which is letter D. Heat engine D with 87.5% efficiency. An automobile engine has an efficiency of 35% and produces an average of 20,000 joules of work per second during operation. How much heat input is required? Going back, we need to remember our formula for energy efficiency, which is energy output divided by energy input times 100. So again, you may use the pyramid or the triangle to easily remember the formula. So we are looking for the heat input or the energy input. So with that, the formula for this one is energy output divided by efficiency. So these are the choices. Is it A, 571 joules, B, 7,452 joules, C, 57,143 joules, or D, 706,438 joules? So again, the heat input is equal to the heat output or the energy output divided by the efficiency. Okay, so 20,000 joules, which is the energy output, divided by 0.35 is equal to 57.143 joules. So the correct answer is letter C. which best describes the thermodynamics involved when water evaporates into a gas? A. Energy is absorbed and entropy increases. B. Energy is absorbed and entropy decreases. C. Energy is released and entropy increases. Or D. Energy is released and entropy decreases. So whenever water changes from a liquid phase to a gaseous phase, which is the evaporation state or the evaporation process, the energy is absorbed. And while doing that, the entropy also increases. So the correct answer is letter A. Which of the following is a machine that converts thermal energy into mechanical energy? Is it A. Heat engine, B. Heat appliances, C. Refrigerator, or D. Thermostat? The correct answer is A. Heat engine. How would you improve a heat engine to increase its thermal efficiency? A. Increase the temperature of the heat reservoir for it to do more work. B. Decrease the temperature of the heat reservoir to decrease heat loss. C. Increase the temperature of the heat sink to make use of waste heat. Or D. Increase the temperature of the heat reservoir and decrease the temperature of the heat sink. The correct answer is letter D. Increase the temperature of the heat reservoir and decrease the temperature of the heat sink. What is the correct sequence of a 4-cycle stroke gasoline engine? 1. Intake, 2. Power, 3. Exhaust, 4. Compression. So these are the sequences, and all you have to do is to arrange them in their correct sequence. Is it A. 1, 2, 3, 4, B. 1, 3, 4, 2, C. 1, 4, 2, 3, or D. 2, 3, 4, 1? The correct answer is letter C. It starts with the intake, then followed by compression, then power, and lastly, exhaust. In a refrigerator, the work or the electricity applied to it is balanced by the heat that is released from the refrigerator. This balance of work and heat results in A. A change in temperature inside of the refrigerator. B. No change in the internal energy of the refrigerator. C. No energy being transferred. Or D. Nothing. The correct answer is letter B. No change in the internal energy of the refrigerator. An inflated balloon is placed in a tub of hot water. As the balloon stays submerged in the water, the balloon expands. What can be said of the work that was done? A. It is positive and the water did work on the balloon. B. It is negative and the balloon did work on the water. C. It is positive and the balloon did work on the water. Or D. It is negative and the water did work on the balloon. The correct answer is letter C. It is positive and the balloon did work on the water. A warm pocket of rising air is an example of an A. Adiabatic process, B. Isochoric process, C. Isothermal process, or D. Isovolumetric process. The correct answer is A. Adiabatic process. What happens to the particles of a substance when heat is added? A. Nothing. B. The particles move faster. C. The particles move slower. Or D. The particles will be lost. The correct answer is letter B. The particles move faster. Which private company distributes electricity to the residents in Metro Manila? A. Angat Dam. B. Department of Energy. C. Luzon Grid. D. Meralco. The correct answer is, of course, letter D. Meralco. Which of the following equations correctly describes power? A. Electrical energy divided by time. B. Work times time. C. Voltage times current. Or D. Force divided by velocity. So, electrical energy is equal to power times time. Now, to get the formula for power, you can use again the triangle or the pyramid for easier access to the formula. So, power is equal to energy divided by time. Again, E is equal to energy in joules, P is power in watts, and T is time in seconds. So, again, the formula for power is electrical energy divided by time. In your electric bill, which comprises the largest share in terms of cost? A. Tax, B. Distribution, C. Transmission, or D. Generation. So I got this one from meralco.com, okay, in their website. So as you can see here, the distribution of the cost, 55% goes to the generation charge, 10.1% is for transmission, 17.5% distribution charge, 11.7% goes to the taxes, and 5.7% for others. So generation charge covers the cost of power we purchase from our suppliers, independent power producers or IPPs, power producers with power supply agreements with Meralco, power producers using renewable energy, and the wholesale electricity spot market. While transmission charge is the charge for the cost of delivery of electricity from power suppliers, usually located in other provinces or in remote areas outside of our franchise area, to our distribution system. This is paid to the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, which is the transmission service provider. So, for the system loss charge, refers to the cost recovery of power lost due to technical and non-technical system losses. The maximum level of losses that may be recovered by private distribution utilities was set at 9.5% by Republic Act number 7832, which was reduced to 8.5% starting 2010. And the distribution charge is the only portion of your bill that goes to Meralco. So this is the thing that we pay to Meralco. It covers the cost of developing, constructing, operating, and maintaining the distribution system, which delivers power from high voltage transmission grids to commercial and industrial establishments and residential end users. The distribution charge is the only portion, I already said that one. Subsidies, lifeline, and senior citizen discounts. So again, these are the discounts that we get, especially if you are a senior citizen or those who are in the part of the marginalized low-income customers. And we have the metering charge. This is the charge for the cost of reading, operating, and maintaining power metering facilities and associated equipment, as well as other costs attributed to the provision of metering service. And last but not the least, the supply charge. This is for the cost of rendering service to customers, such as billing, collection, customer assistance, and other associated services. So, going back to our question, so which has the largest share in terms of costs? Of course, we have the generation. Refer to the diagram of the generation, transmission, and distribution of electrical energy below to answer the two questions that follow. So here's the diagram. So as you can see here, generation is A, transmission B, distribution C, and another distribution for D. What transformation takes place in generation A? Is it A, high voltage to low voltage, B, low power to high power, C, mechanical energy to electrical energy, or D, electrical energy to mechanical energy? So going back to the diagram, so we are talking about generation. Yeah, A. So what is the transformation? The correct answer is letter C, mechanical energy to electrical energy. Which device is important in distribution? C, A, transformer, B, turbine, C, generator, D, long copper wires. Okay, so before we go to the correct answer, let us have this diagram first. So as you can see here, it all starts with the power plant, which generates the electricity. And then there is the step-up transformer for the voltage transmission. And then transmission lines carry electricity long distances. Then we have the neighborhood transformer steps down the voltage. And distribution lines carry electricity to houses. Then transformers on poles step down electricity before it enters the house. So with that, which do you think is the correct answer for letter C? Okay, the correct answer is letter A, transformer. Which of the following needs a step-up transformer? Is it A, welding machine, B, voltage stabilizer, C, power distribution substation, or D, power transmission in power plants? Okay, the correct answer is letter D, power transmission in power plants. If electrical energy costs 1050 pesos per kilowatt hour, how much is the total energy cost will a household that consumes 250 kilowatt hour need to pay at the end of the month? A, 2,625 pesos, B, 2,265 pesos, C, 5,262 pesos, or D, 6,225 pesos. So how do we compute for the cost? Okay, the cost of electricity, just as you pay so much money per kilogram when you buy fruits and vegetables, you pay a certain amount of cents or peso per kilowatt hour when you use the electricity. So the formula is simply as energy in kilowatt hour times the base price. So here, the correct answer is A, 2,625 pesos. So what we did here is to multiply the kilowatt hour, which is 250, times the base amount or the base price per kilowatt hour, which is 10.5. So that gives us 2,625 pesos. Which power plant is involved in the series of energy transformations below? From gravitational potential energy to kinetic energy to mechanical energy to electrical energy. Is it A, hydroelectric power plant, B, nuclear power plant, C, geothermal power plant, or D, wind power plant? So the correct answer to this one is, of course, hydroelectric power plant. So to prove, here is a diagram. Okay, so in a hydroelectric power plant, so the stored water in dam actually has a potential gravitational energy. And then, as the water falls from a certain height, that potential energy becomes kinetic energy. Then when it reaches the turbine, the kinetic energy is transformed into a mechanical energy. And then lastly, when it reaches the generator, it produces the electrical energy. So again, the correct transmission or transformation rather of energy is from potential gravitational energy to kinetic energy to mechanical energy and to electrical energy. Which of the following steps may reduce power loss during transmission at long distances? A. Use a step-up transformer to increase the voltage. B. Use a step-down transformer to decrease the voltage. C. Increase both current and voltage. Or D. Decrease the current and voltage. The correct answer is letter A. Use a step-up transformer to increase the voltage. If you are going to design a power plant that can produce a reliable energy source and minimal environmental pollution, which of these factors will you consider? 1. Energy capacity. 2. Generation cost. 3. Greenhouse gas emissions. 4. Type of consumers. Or 5. Gross profit. Is it A. 1, 2, and 5? B. 2, 3, and 4? C. 1, 3, and 5? D. 1, 2, and 3. So let's use elimination method in answering this question. So we are looking for a reliable energy source. So that is, we have to consider number 1, energy capacity. Also, minimal environmental pollution. So we have to consider number 3. So looking at the choices, we can now eliminate letter B since it does not have number 1 in it. So again, we have to look for or consider the energy capacity and then the greenhouse emissions. So that is 1 and 3. So letter B does not have number 1. And then letter A does not have number 3. So that leaves us with C and D. So other than the energy capacity and the greenhouse gas emissions, we also have to consider, since we are building or designing a power plant, what would be the generation cost? So we have to consider number 2. So the correct answer is letter D, 1, 2, and 3. Suppose you want to create a roller coaster with 3 loops. How would you design the loops without violating the law of conservation of mechanical energy? A. Make 3 loops of the same size and height. B. Make 3 loops with increasing size and height. C. Make 3 loops with decreasing size and height. Or D. Make 3 identical loops with the first loop having more brake pads than the rest. If we are to consider the law of conservation of mechanical energy, we have to make 3 loops of the same size and height. Which of the following has the most kinetic energy? A. A 20 kilogram toddler running at 5 meters per second. B. A 50 kilogram toddler running at 30 meters per second. C. A 90 kilogram toddler running at 30 meters per second. Or D. A 100 kilogram toddler running at 2 meters per second. So how do we get the kinetic energy? So what is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is the energy that objects possess due to their motion. So the formula to get the kinetic energy is Ke equals 1/2 mv squared. where m is the mass in kilograms, v is the velocity in meter per second, and ke is the kinetic energy in joules. So for letter A, 1/2 times 20 kilogram times the square of 5 meter per second, which is equal to 25 meter per second. That gives us a 250 joule kinetic energy. For letter B, 1/2 times 50 kilogram times the square of 30 meter per second, which gives us 900 meter per second. So that gives us 22,500 joules kinetic energy. For letter C, 1/2 times 90. Again, let us square 30 meter per second, giving us 900 meter per second. So that is equal to 40,500 joules. Or D, 1/2 times 100 kilograms times the square of 2, which is 4 meter per second, and that gives us 200 joules. So, which has the most kinetic energy? It's none other than letter C, a 90 kilogram toddler running at 30 meter per second. A 70 kilogram runner has a velocity of 5 meter per second. What is her kinetic energy? Is it A, 175 joules, B, 350 joules, C, 875 joules, or D, 1,750 joules? So again, let us go back to the formula of kinetic energy. It's Ke equals 1/2 mv squared. So to compute for kinetic energy, we have to multiply 1/2 times 70 kilogram times the square of the velocity, which is 5, that is equal to 25 meter per second. So that gives us 875 joules. You drop a 5 kilogram ball from a height of 2 meters. Just before it reaches the ground, what type of energy does it have? A, chemical energy, B, nuclear energy, C, kinetic energy, or D, potential energy? Okay, the correct answer is letter C, kinetic energy.
Don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you and goodbye.